It's Shanelle. Steven's here too, I think.
Well, we're not in the same room because
We're not in the
even
same room.
though even though this is rare, we're on the same coast of the United States of America. Um, we're not together because Chanel is
Currently infected with a summer cold
with a summer cold.
or this is like the game I've been playing for 18 months. It's like, am I dying of COVID or do I just have a cold? And
I think you
it's
have a
not funny.
cold.
You
I
really
think you
do?
have a
That's
Yeah, I think you have
comforting.
a cold.
That's really comforting to hear. I have 2 negative COVID tests as of Tuesday,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, this has got to be it. Like, this is it. This is my time.
This is your moment in the sun.
I just feel like, yeah, like,
Have you had COVID?
no, I haven't.
Oh, okay. I guess it's your turn, so to
That's
speak.
exactly right. And I don't mean to make light of it. It's not funny, but I'm
No,
vaccinated
it's
and
not.
whatever.
And
And
but we handle serious topics with grace.
with the levity they deserve, lots of
Yeah.
laws. No, I just feel really resigned to it. It feels like, okay, fine, this is my time. My 2 wonderful, beautiful grandparents tested positive on Sunday, and I was with them. So you know what? If you're going to get it, that's the way that you get
From
it.
your grandparents.
From your grandma and your grandpa, who are both vaccinated
Yeah.
as well. And they have a wonderful
Right.
doctor, and their doctor gave them chest x-rays, and he didn't have to. So they're great.
Wonderful.
So if you have good health care,
But you've been responsibly holed up in a room, right?
yeah, so I have not left this room except to pee since Tuesday. I've been masking around my fam if I have to cross paths with them, which I do not like to do. But
Do you
they're
only
making
go
it.
out at night?
Yeah, quite literally the other day, I waited all day. I was so hungry, and I was too scared to ask anyone for a meal in my house because I thought they were gonna be like, no.
Or like worse, they're like, come down and eat it with us.
Yeah, so I went out at like 11:30 at night, and I just made spaghetti for myself.
Did you like creep down the stairs?
Yeah, I did it really quietly, and
Soft feet.
I was wearing a KN95, and like my nose is already kind of stuffed up, so it was like very hard to breathe.
In your
I'm
own
not
home, no
okay
less.
in my own house. I'm really not okay. And I've been spiraling out. I've just been like, what if our air conditioning system is like pumping this disease into every room? Like, what if?
What if?
This is
But-
a very what if week for me, which wasn't fun, but
Yeah.
this is a very
I've
what if
had-
movie.
I've had a pretty good week. Not gonna lie.
Didn't ask. Flip that shit on you. Let's hear it.
Speaking of not asking, did you like how last night I tried to set emotional boundaries with you?
That was so jarring to me. Readers, I texted Steven while I was watching Night and Day, which took me all day to consume, which
So that I don't understand.
I know.
I couldn't
just,
put it down.
I w-
It was like a,
the
it
read
was
of
like a
the
good
summer.
book.
I texted Steven last night with like no context, which I understand. I texted like, I'm crying right now. And he wrote back, okay. and I was like, oh, it's about the movie. Like, it's very funny. And he's like, oh.
I was just like in the moment. I can't remember what was going on in my life at the moment, but I just knew that I wasn't in a position to responsibly take on
My
whatever was
tears.
coming my way. And then when you told me you were crying, cry laughing because of the movie, I did open up
You opened
the
up.
arms of discussion. But
I was like, no one will ever accuse you of being over emotional. You were like, I'm sorry. No, you didn't even apologize.
no,
just like, I
you don't
can't.
apologize for setting boundaries.
Let me see.
Responsible
I'm going back
boundaries.
to the receipts. I'm crying right now. Okay. I go halfway through and you go, oh, the movie. And you just write back trying to limit things to worry about.
Yeah, I realized that
I'm
at
actually
like
done.
at like 10:30 at night was probably not the best time to like begin setting boundaries. But it just seemed like the right time to try.
Communication via text is so weird. Like, why did I even write? I'm crying right now. Like, would I just assume you thought I took all day
And
to
the
watch
only
the movie?
reason that I did write okay was that there was a little bit of a break in between the two texts. Like
I know.
I'm crying right now, and then nothing.
Pause.
So I was like, okay.
My own little sister.
It
does
reminded
this.
me of like people who would make Facebook statuses, that would be like, "You'd never believe what happened to me today,"
And then they
crying.
wait. Yeah, feeling sad.
Just waiting for somebody to comment. What happened?
Yes, exactly. My sister does this. My sister will be like, "Oh my god, guess what mom did?" or something, and I'll be like, and then like I will not have seen it, so I wouldn't have responded, and she'll go all day until I'm like, "What?" Like she won't just
Yeah.
write it, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man?" Like now I have to wait for you to get near your phone to like respond. Like this is annoying.
It's
I feel
a
like
game.
it is a game.
It's a
Oh,
game.
we have to talk about that because that'll lead into this
Games.
movie. That's kind of been the theme of our week or
Yeah.
summer or lives.
I have one quick trivia question for you before we get
okay.
started.
Yes, let's hear it.
And this, unfortunately or fortunately, depending how you look at it, this does fall into the series of what Peloton ride did I do this week. So if you haven't been liking those stories, here's another one you're not going to like. So I did one morning,
Skip
I
ahead
did
10.
two rides in a row. Okay. And I want you to guess which one I got a higher output on, which one I burned more calories. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready.
The Pink ride featuring music from the artist Pink,
Okay.
or the Nicki Minaj ride.
Oh my god, you couldn't have put two harder ones. Wow, because I was gonna say Pink, hands down, no questions asked. But Nikki is like really high, like high beats per minute. Do I want to say
Sure.
Pink? Because we love her.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yes, I know you so well.
Yeah, it was fun. I felt
I feel like it's a funnier.
Pink went to my high school, hate bragging, but she's a real hometown hero. We don't have many in
love those
Doylestown,
kind of stories.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I am pretty jealous of your Peloton rides, but I just know I hate cycling. My cousin just got a Peloton and he didn't get the shoes. And I was like, oh, Steven like couldn't ride without the shoes. And
He's
my
just
cousin
using
was like,
he's just resting his feet on top of the pedals.
yeah. And my cousin was like, well, I'm
That's
calling Steven
dangerous.
out. He's like, you don't need the shoes to start. And I was like, no, I feel like you do. And my cousin was like, no, you don't.
It's really dangerous.
It seems dangerous, especially the speed at which you're going.
Yeah.
I had a tragic bike
You
accident.
don't have to get suckered in and buy their shoes. You could buy
like
buy
an
discount
off-brand?
shoes. That's what I did.
Oh, I thought the next brag out of your stupid mouth this morning was going to be, I got the brand name shoes.
Yeah, I wanted them to say the name of the bike on them so I wouldn't forget where to use them.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not even like you can wear them around town.
You can't even wear them in your house. You'll ruin your
know.
floors. Yeah.
Click, 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 click. That was like when I got tap shoes for the first time and mom was like, get those off now. Wear them only on the carpet. I was like, you can't hear them clicking on the carpet, Mom.
How am I supposed to know? Tap dancing to me is
Such a lol. I love it.
such a lull, and I just one day it'll have to go away, right? There will be a generation where tap is
No
not
more.
imparted to the next generation.
So
And then I feel like
evil.
it'll be really hard. It'll be really hard to bring it back if it goes extinct.
Actually true. I probably
like,
100% agree. Like,
Put
what
these
is keeping
noisemaker
tap
shoes
alive?
on.
I feel like the only thing keeping tap alive is like the Rockettes, right? Or
Yeah.
barely the Rockettes.
Do they do tap?
I think they do in their Christmas Spectacular, which I hate
I'd love to go
be-
this year.
Oh my God, no, I hate to be a Grinch about this. It's the same show every fucking year. It's the
is
same
the same
show.
show.
You don't need to go more than one time in your life. And I've been like 3 times.
I haven't been in a while. I'd like to go this year.
Yeah, you're like that. I feel like I will be ready to go again in like a tight 10 years.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Now that we've established that.
Yeah, noted.
Today's flick, night and day, I thought you told me about this movie. I thought like you were the one that was like, you have to see Night and Day back in like 2010. And you're like, no, bitch, I've never seen this movie.
I've never seen this movie. And then you wanted to argue about it.
I did. I wanted to fight.
You wanted to prove to me that I have seen this movie.
I just thought like, you must be crazy. You must be having a little lapse in judgment. And like, you have seen this. You're the one who told me about it. Because I could have sworn we texted about this movie before, but I don't know. Maybe it was a one-sided thing.
I definitely have never seen this movie. I probably, you know what I did? I probably confused it with Vanilla Sky.
Maybe. Cool.
That
gives me some comfort. But I mean, who even cares? Okay, I have to ask, what did you think? Like, what was your impression on the whole?
In the context of the movies that we have watched for this endeavor, I have never been so confused so quickly while watching a movie.
This is a wild one.
I've never been so confused. And at the same time, I've never laughed so hard. It was a funny, funny movie.
It's so funny. We
So
really
funny.
do pick the best.
I will say, though, that like once I got past the first 15 minutes and just let myself breathe, kind of, drop my shoulders a little bit and just said, much like Cameron Diaz, I have no idea what's going on.
Just go with it, bitch.
And just kind of went with it. It was a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's one of those movies where you just gotta go with the flow. I loved it in 2010.
So jealous.
When I saw this, I feel like it was like a summer blockbuster, and I just left being like, yeah, now that is what I want in a movie. That's a movie.
Yeah.
You said it. You texted it. You're like, this is a movie. And I felt that way.
It felt like a real movie because for the first, again, in line with the other ones we've seen, I knew that this was a real movie because when it began, it had like a real production logo. It was like 20th Century Fox. It wasn't like
My copy too was
Roadshow Flower Productions.
Roadside Pictures or something.
Yeah. This was like a real studio movie.
Flick. I
Yeah,
know.
and you could feel the budget.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Although some of the
back of
scenes-
Tom's head budget.
Yeah, although some of the scenes, it felt CGI, but I also felt like we were there. It was very confusing.
I felt like the budget of this was astronomical for the product.
It felt so.
It felt so high.
And we'll get into this as we make our way, bob and weave through it.
Yeah.
But they really travel the world
Oh my God. Do they?
at a blistering pace.
It's like
and
an impossible pace.
That was fun to see.
I love, that's what you want in like a spy movie. Like I want to see locations and I want the little typing in the bottom to tell me where we are. Austria, Germany.
Thank God for the text, because otherwise I would have had no idea where we are. But it made me think back to Eat, Pray, Love in the sense that the problem with Eat, Pray, Love, or a problem with Eat, Pray, Love, is that it felt like we were stuck in these locales for months.
For a long time.
For so
These were
long.
fast.
These were fast. We were
Fast,
in and
fast,
out.
fast. Yep.
It reminded me of like that Rachel Ray show where she would do $40 a day.
$40
and it
a
was
day,
like
whatever.
yeah,
That
it was
show?
like, you're in and you're out.
Oh
so
my
quick.
God.
So
You have
quick.
just unlocked a deep memory. I was like, it's not enough money. It's not enough.
Okay, well, you know how she got away with that show, right?
How?
She didn't
Not
tip.
eating? Oh, stop it.
She
You
never
stop.
tipped. She would tip like a quarter.
I remember,
was like-
it would be like a buck on like a
Yeah.
$30 dinner. It would be like
Yeah.
her $1.15 left.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That's how she could always phrase it. And she goes, "And what I have left, I'll leave for the tip." And it was like,
Bitch.
you just spent $20 on dinner, and you left 75 cents for the tip. That's
love
really,
this.
really inappropriate.
I
But I used to like that show. I used to.
Me too. I was, like, addicted.
Let me rephrase. If it was on right now, I would rather be watching that.
Same. I love that show.
Same.
Wait, I'm really happy to touch on that, if not just for me. Enjoyed.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Night and day, I feel, let me definitely read the synopsis so we can like get in.
And by the way,
Okay.
let me preface this synopsis by saying that
I'm excited.
I still have a very not firm, loose grasp on the plot. And
Okay. I'll help you through
I
it.
don't really know what the plot is, but go ahead.
This is how I felt for Miss Congeniality only because I wasn't paying attention in the movie. But okay.
Yeah, that's more
This is a cold read,
your
fam.
problem.
Completely cold read. All right, Night and Day from 2010. June Havens, Cameron Diaz, chats up her charming seatmate on a flight out of Kansas, but she doesn't realize that she will soon land in the middle of an international adventure. The fellow passenger, Roy Miller, played by Tom Cruise, is a covert operative who claims he has been set up to take a fall. Now, his reluctant partner, June, must dodge bullets in Boston, leap rooftops in Austria, and evade bulls in Spain, while she and Roy learn that trust is the most important survival skill, I think.
I think.
You've outdone yourself.
What was the genre of the movie?
I know. I was like, okay, this is like a spy thriller flick, but the only thing that makes sense to me is comedy. Like, that's it.
Comedy, I know for sure.
For sure, it was a
Because
little
I
comedy.
for sure laughed. That I
Yes.
know for sure.
I know. I needed a
think-
heavier lean in on one or the other.
I
Probably
think
the comedy.
that okay, starting with the title.
What?
What is the title?
What is
because
this title?
we've rightly expressed concern with some titles in the past on the grounds that maybe there was a better option or that it might have just been a little too generic. This title makes no sense.
Absolutely none.
Okay, Night and Day, I've heard that expression before.
Yes. So, like, in the
Usually
vein of
to convey
night and
a
day.
change.
Opposites.
Opposites.
Night and day. They're night and day.
So you would think we're going to see opposites in this movie.
Yeah. They're on the same page very quickly.
They're on the same page, and they're both. And I don't. Again, I just diagnose. I don't prescribe. They're both ill. They're both
They're
not
both
well.
not okay.
They're not okay. So they're the same in that respect in terms of intellect as well. And
True.
okay,
Knight.
spoiler: we do find out that his last name is Knight, Knight.
In the quite literal last frame of the movie,
Right.
we find that out. And then, okay, did you notice that the Zephyr was in a little knight
Yes.
figure? Okay, so I was
Now-
like, is that? Knight? Knight
Right. And it would have made sense if her last name
was Day.
was Day. It's not. It's not. And I really thought that, okay, in the first scene, they're at an airport. And
Oh, yes. Love.
first
an
of all,
airport
we
scene.
have to give ourselves a little bit of credit here. Because at the end of the last episode, we jokingly said we were going to do a boy.
I know.
And here we are.
Here we are. We did it.
We're
I'm so
pouring one out for the
proud.
boys. I'm
For
so
the
proud of us.
boys. I don't
I
like
have to-
male movie stars.
Ugh,
Ugh.
me either.
You're not
it's so
fun.
uncomfortable to me. Now,
I know.
here's what I have to say about Tom Cruise, and you know this.
I can't wait.
Love Tom Cruise. He is truly one of my favorite movie stars. Be he or she is she. Like,
is
I
so
love
good.
Tom Cruise. Now, I can and I have to reconcile that with everything that I know about the Church of Scientology.
I know it's tough.
It's tough to untangle those threads.
It's really hard to overlook.
Especially coming off of second act where Leah Remini has done really good work in exposing how bad it is.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I'm going to separate art from artist and just I don't know. Tom Cruise to me has never made a bad movie. And
That's the bomb I wanted you to drop. Tom Cruise
he's never made a bad movie.
has never made a bad movie, and I agree. And it's tough.
He has a magnetic presence that I wish I could channel in my own life. when he was talking to characters in this movie, I was enthralled.
Same. And I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out. He just like knows, like he's like, it's like he wakes up every morning and he looks in the mirror and he's like, I'm motherfucking Tom Cruise. And then everything he does is like from that place.
Yeah. And we'll get into this as we kind of go through the movie. But what I really came to love about this movie, Night and Day, is that
Reminder
Tom Cruise character,
for your notes.
Tom Cruise character has no depth in this movie, right? Like you don't know anything about his character. And I felt like, and Cameron Diaz is doing a similar exercise as well. I feel like they were really poking fun at themselves, which I really enjoyed. Like I felt like he was performing like the public's view of who Tom Cruise was.
Yeah.
And Cameron Diaz
parody.
is doing the same thing in this movie too.
Yeah, like country bumpkin from like
Country
Boston
bumpkin who's also like sexy in a
tomboy.
bathing suit, but just kind of like
yes.
but also just kind of like, wait, what? So I
Wait,
appreciated
you're right. You're so right.
I
about that.
found like the self-awareness in this movie to be really high, actually. And that is what made it such an enjoyable, to use your word, romp.
Romp. Okay, I struggle with what you just said. I can't see that it was intentional at all. I am a woman and I don't understand a lot of things. But
Okay, you don't think it was intentional.
I just struggle to believe that that was intentional, like a choice, a choice of self-awareness. But I do agree with you that they are doing like the versions of themselves that like we think of when we think of these people. Tom Cruise is like mysterious. He's brooding. He's like got the smoldery eye thing. We don't care where he comes from. We don't give a shit at all. We're just like,
right.
You want to drug me? Sure. Good night.
Right.
Sleepy time. And then Cameron too.
Yeah.
She's like nice. She's a tomboy, which the tomboy thing fucking kills me when you look like her. But
right.
that's like her persona in the public. Like that's what we see for her. She's a tom girl. So yeah, I just struggle.
Can I take it one step further?
Yeah, let's hear it. Go.
Okay. Now that I'm just hearing it out loud, here's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I feel like around 2010 and beginning in 2010 up through now, and this is kind of why we're on the forefront of this as basically our NGO, but the movie star has been under attack. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now hearing this said out loud, this movie to me was almost like, oh, you think movie stars are dumb? Well, we're just going to like lean into that so hard and give you a movie that could only be made with a movie star. Like this movie.
That is true. That is like
this movie
quintessentially bottom line true.
Could not have worked with two no-name people because I think part of the fun of this movie is like the blurring of the lines between who Tom Cruise is in the public, what we know him for in the movies, and then this role. And then the same thing with Cameron Diaz. And it felt like a real treat for people who love movie stars like us.
Yeah,
like if you went to the movies and you hate
100,000%.
movie stars and you think they're stupid, you would watch this movie and be like, this is
Great.
garbage. But if you're of a different persuasion, I feel like you would walk out like we did and be like, that was truly the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I got to the end of this movie and like my closing thought, which I'll just drop now because it's relevant, is like I feel kind of like stupid in the sense that this is all I need. That's all I need. I just need 2 movie stars. That's it. I literally wrote, this proves that literally all I need are movie stars and I'm good. Like that was so magnetic, so much fun watching them like ping pong off of each other. Yeah. That's all I need.
I think that's kind of the
public,
point,
that's
though.
all we need too.
I think that's kind of the point. It's like almost a defense of movie stars because the plot is
This podcast.
so ridiculous.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It makes not a lick of sense. And yet it's more successful, in my opinion, than like a movie that probably has a tighter script and more characterization.
Yeah, 100%.
Because the movie stars fill in those holes, and that's what makes it so fun.
Yeah, they both make it work like to the 10th degree. And then like just plugging in Viola Davis in there to just give it that like that levity that it needs. I just believe her. I'm like, oh my God, she's here. Like she must be right.
Right.
You know what?
She
Tom
wouldn't sign
Cruise
on to
is
this
right.
if it was a joke.
This is not a joke. You like we often bring this up, but it's like every character in this movie is right.
Yeah.
Like Skarsgård being like the baddie. Oh my God, yes, correct.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise being like the guy that you don't question. Yup. Is he like doing the creepiest shit alive to her? Does she go along with it? Of course. It's just like
Yeah.
you need this shorthand with these two, or else this movie just implodes. Like you can't, like you said, you cannot do this with brilliant actors but no name actors. It just doesn't work.
Right. Agreed.
So this is defense
so anyway,
for the
so
star.
we're in an airport.
Okay, so anyways, 26 minutes later, we're in an airport.
We're in an airport, and you're right. Tom Cruise does marvel at a figurine of a knight at the airport gift shop. And this is when I was watching the movie differently, and I was like, I better pay attention to these clues.
Lean in.
To these clues. Here's a knight. That's in the title. It has to be important. So I was like, okay.
You could have closed your eyes.
I was like, sit up straight, and pay attention.
It's too good.
And then Cameron Diaz comes in.
She's all goofy in her little checkered shirt from Wichita.
From Wichita, as if she had just learned to walk 30 seconds ago.
Like a little baby
Why was
giraffe.
Why was she walking like that?
Probably those clunky 2010 cowboy boots.
Yeah, she spends a lot of time in those cowboy boots, stomping through the world.
Stopping through the Wichita, through a Kansas International Airport. I don't know what their local airport is there. But the style in this movie is
Probably
so
Wichita.
2010. It hurts. Like those remember when girls would wear like stirrup leggings and like those like boots up to their kneecaps and they were so fucking ugly and they were flat.
Even though they didn't have riding practice.
They didn't have riding practice. And she's in like business casual, which was like so 2010. It was like New York and Company just exploded on every girl.
It was that shirt, that blue and white checkered shirt that like every girl had in middle school and would like leave like the top two buttons unbuttoned and like
and
roll
there's
the
a tank
sleeves up.
under it. Yeah, there's a
tank
tank top
under.
under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
For
shirt
modesty.
communicated so much wordlessly for us. It was like, this is your down home girl next door. She is like quirky and smart, and she also loves boys. Like it was just like everything in one.
Yeah.
Love that shirt. But okay, so they run into each other twice. We get two little like meet cutie things, and she is like instantly smitten, as evidenced by the fact that she checks her face after they run into each other the first time.
Because she has soot on her face.
She runs to the mirror, and he's like, you have something on your head, and she's like, oh my God, and then she wipes it off. And this is part of that, like, I'm unpacking it for me, but movies have indoctrinated us all. We know it's a smog. The patriarchy is a smog we all breathe, to quote. Well, it's not June's quote, but it's just like it's so clear. Okay, she loves him, right?
Right. But I would also say that for me watching it, I didn't pick that up.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it wasn't in the performance.
I had no idea
it was
that, like,
it was in
to
the
think
action.
that there was romantic tension was.
It was No, that's not a knock on Cameron's emotional inner life, but it was only because she ran to a mirror that I knew that.
Right.
That's it.
But it's confusing because, and again, I guess this is part of the movie.
I guess
They're confusing us into thinking that she is up to no good. When she gets to the airport and she checks in at the front desk.
Oh my God.
They're like, do you want to check that bag? She goes, no, there's valuables in it.
I know, I'm like, what the fuck does she have?
And she's like rattling, and then she goes through security, and there's like all these pipes.
I know, I'm like, these look like parts of guns.
Parts of a gun. If I'm on a flight, I don't want her bag making it through security.
I agree. I'm like,
Especially
all of those are
as
weapons.
a checked bag.
All of that is weapon.
You shouldn't be able to bring a loose bag of pipes on.
Yeah, she had a loose bag of pipes and a blow dryer, and that's who he chose as his mule, basically. Spoiler, that's his mule to get his beloved little Zephyr Knight
His battery.
through his battery. Oh, that was fucking ridiculous as like a plot device. But yeah, I just was deeply uncomfortable with that bag making it through.
Here's why. Because I've been flagged going through security multiple times, and always for the same reason. It's because when I travel, I usually take my Tracy Anderson method ankle weights with me.
Ankle weights. I knew it.
And if you don't know what they look like, you can Google them. They look very much like another suspicious device that people sometimes try to bring on planes. And 9 times out of 10, I always get pulled aside to the auxiliary room for a little chat.
The auxiliary room.
So
Dead.
to see her glide through security with real weapons was
unsettling.
Shocking.
And her bag's like clink clanking too. It's like
Clink.
it's like really clink clanking.
It's making a lot of noise.
She brought her musical instruments on board.
Yeah.
It was so
And
wild.
you're right though. Like she had no clothes, she had no toiletries, she just had pipes and a hair dryer.
Which brings me.
I have no TSA training, but that is
Suspicious.
so suspicious.
I want to talk about that character choice. Like, she's a mechanic or she restores old cars. And I'm just like, I love how hot actors get to just say ridiculous shit like that. Like that they restore old GTOs. And you're like, they have no clue what they're saying. Like she has less than no idea what this pipe is. But we buy it. Like we lean in and we're like, wow, what a sexy woman. Like she fixes cars. Like, I guess I don't really have a grander point aside from the fact that how dumb are we?
Well, she says Pontiac no less than 100 times. And
I'm like,
I think
wow, she
to
knows
your
her
point though,
Pontiacs.
I had a little bit of a different reaction. I said when she peddles the idea that she has a garage and she works on cars, this is why I'm terrible when I watch Law and Order. I initially was like, that's not true. You're lying.
That's what I'm saying.
You're lying.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying.
It's like when I watch Law and Order, I believe everybody when they come on. And obviously the episode is an hour. So the first person you meet isn't telling the truth. Otherwise there would be no show. But like with her in this thing, I was like, there's no way that she is a
like
car
I guess a mechanic
restore
or something.
hobbyist.
I know, that's exactly what I did. I went, no, no, you don't. This is Cameron Diaz. Like my brain immediately was like, you're the voice of Fiona. Like, no.
Oh.
And it like
No, I
it
wanna
doesn't
watch
take
Shrek.
away from the movie. I know, I fucking love Shrek. It
Shrek
just does.
2.
It's just weird. It's like she's so magnetic. All she has to do is smile. And I'm also like, you don't do that. You don't fix
You don't
cars.
do that. You don't do that.
And you have to laugh. You just have to laugh at like they're trying to pull a once over on us.
Right. They're trying to
They're
get
like,
us.
she does this, and I'm like, no. But I still like it.
Listen, they got me.
They got me.
I got.
They always have me.
So they always. Cameron always has me wrapped around her little finger.
Yeah, she's always got me. And like I just find her endearing. Like I said, I think it all boils back to the shorthand of the actor. And we have a shorthand with Tom and we have a shorthand with Cameron.
You're right.
So.
And I spent a lot of time giving laudatory praise for my love of Tom Cruise, but I would also say that I love Cameron Diaz, and
You do.
She's
That you do.
so, and in this movie in particular, she's so funny.
Yeah. She really has the comedy thing going for her. And they needed that desperately
They
in
needed
this
it.
movie. Yeah, so I mean, where she like gets on this, well, first she like goes up to get on the flight and they're like, no, sorry, miss, you're not on this. And my question to you was, did Tom Cruise try to make it so she couldn't get on because he didn't want like a casualty of his business affairs? Is that what you got from that?
Okay. I will have to answer this question. I can only answer this question based on what I know now. Because in the
Okay.
moment, I had no clue what was going on.
Yeah, in the moment,
But-
I'm like, that's weird. They just canceled. They were like, no, you can't get on.
But here was my understanding. Because what we're led to believe in the moment is that the two of them are connected. because
Yes.
we're spliced in scenes from somebody watching on a monitor saying these two are working together. But
Yeah.
I think what by the end of the movie we learn is that Tom Cruise is going to use her to be, using your language, to be a battery mule. And he knows that this flight is going to be trouble, as we'll find out. And he gives her the battery because he knows that she won't get on the flight. Right?
No, he puts the battery in her suitcase pre-security. She carts it through security for him, and then he takes it back after security.
Oh.
So he's got the battery.
Okay,
Then I
never
was like
mind.
led to believe in that moment that he pulled some sort of string and was like, hey, get this broad off my flight, because he's like a super spy. And he was like, I don't want a casualty of like whatever this is going to be. And then somehow the flight attendant's like, actually, we found a seat for you. Come on in.
Well, it's because the CIA, who's running the whole flight, they call in and say, no, put her on the flight, because they're working together, because they see on the monitor that he
Yeah, they
has
must
transferred
be.
the battery. Right?
Yeah, it was muddy. Folks, take our confusion seriously.
I think like what would be helpful is that at this point in time, and Cameron Diaz is not an international spy. Only Tom Cruise is.
But she is a world-renowned
mechanic.
GTO mechanic. Restorer of old muscle cars.
Right. But
Okay,
through
so we
whatever
won't get-
circumstances she gets on the flight.
Yeah, we won't get bogged down in that. It was a little confusing, but okay, so she gets on this flight and it's like dead empty and it turns into a massacre scene.
It does turn into a massacre scene, but she does have some
They have
really
some
funny lines
great dialogue on here.
when she gets on and she's like, this is why the airplanes are tanking or going out of business.
This
all
flight's empty. Yeah, she's so like wonderfully chatty in this and it works so well.
So chatty.
She's like chatting on her way in. She's like, "Oh wow, yeah, no, thank you so much. This is why they're going out of business. This flight's empty." And then she sits like right across from Roy, who is like so hot, by the way.
So yeah.
He looks
They're
real good.
They're kind of like eye flirting.
Yeah, they're eye flirting. She makes a tequila on the rocks look wonderful. Like just look so good. I'm like, ugh. I know it wouldn't taste good, but she just makes me want one.
Yeah,
Guys,
she
Steven
orders a
just
tequila.
screwed up his face in like the worst. In like the worst.
You know why?
way.
Because, and we've discussed this before, but
Oh, I love this.
I'm not a really good flyer, and watching, and the last thing that I would want is to be thrown into turbulence
with a belly
with
full
alcohol. Oh,
of
it
tequila.
made me sick watching this scene. Like,
She's like crunching on the ice. I'm like, yummy. This looks like a slushy.
I'm literally like holding my mouth. I'm like, oh no.
But yeah, like Tom Cruise is like, she shouldn't be on this flight. Like this is a problem.
Yeah.
So, lucky for him, she spills her drink in some turbulence, and she has to stumble off to the bathroom to like make herself look hotter than she already does. Which is
Yeah, and give
pretty
herself a
funny.
little pep talk.
Yeah, she's like looking at herself in the mirror, picking up her boobs, putting them in the bra the better way. That wasn't English, but
She also like says
we've
to
all
herself,
been there.
she either says, I think the quote that she said was, "This is your first rodeo, woman." I think
no,
that's
she
what
goes-
she
She goes, "This isn't your first rodeo."
is it. Oh, I thought she said this is, which would have been even funnier.
That would have been funnier. That would have been. I'm like, let's play into this a little bit harder with a virgin.
Right.
Imagine.
So as she's giving herself a pep talk, Tom Cruise takes out the entire plane.
Yeah, plain, and it's so
Kills them.
funny. It's so funny.
It's funny. It's funny violence.
Funny violence and the
There's
cross
no
cutting.
blood. There's no blood.
Nope. Clean.
No
Clean shots.
Clean shot.
Clean shots. They don't depressurize the cabin at all. I mean, the
At all.
oxygen mask might come down, but like, there's no bullet hole, and like, then we're getting sucked out. It's just like clean, you know?
Yeah. Even the stewardess gets in on the action. She tries to fight, but she doesn't last long either. It's everybody goes down.
Everyone goes down, and then he very quickly puts everyone back in their seats.
Yeah,
and
just
then he
in time.
just in time for Cameron to come out. She smells her breath, classic.
Yeah.
And
She
then
walks
she comes
by
out.
multiple dead bodies.
Yep. And then he's there with 2 drinks, and she's like, wow, this is the most romantic thing that I can think of. And then he like tells her, you know, I killed the whole plane. And she's like,
Yeah.
ha 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 ha, no you didn't, which is more that comedy that we love.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was super funny. She doesn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then they go down. And is this one of the first times that she kind of like conks out in this movie? There's a lot of times.
It is, but before that, my favorite part of the scene was when Tom Cruise was like, I wrote it down. He's like, oh, we've lost the pilots. And she responds, she's like, dead? He's like,
She's like, where did they go?
He's like, shot. She's like, shot by who?
It was me. I shot them. Well, I shot one, and then one shot me.
Yeah.
And he's
One
like
shot the other
explaining
one.
it. So good. And she's like, nah, you're crazy, buddy.
We've lost them. Where did they go?
Very, very Kathy Hilton read.
Very
lost the
Kathy
pilots.
Hilton energy.
Well, where did they go?
Yeah.
Wait, what is Kathy Hilton? Well, who's
Hunky Dory?
Hunky Dory? Okay. Google it, fam.
I thought
if
you were
don't know.
Kyle.
I thought you were Kyle. Okay.
When the
So
plane is going down, I did scream though, because
Were you scared?
when the scarecrow lands on the plane,
Oh. Yeah, that was another
that?
little jokey.
scary. Scary.
Scary. I was shook by how they survived. They just walked off of a fucking crashed plane in the middle of like a cornfield. And
Cameron Diaz was standing when the plane crashed.
yeah,
She wasn't even in
she
a
just
seat.
walks off.
She was standing in the cockpit.
I wrote, they are so calm for crash landing. They have no heartbeat. Like their pulse is a tight 60 because we know they're both runners. And they're so calm. And Cameron is just so trusting. She's like, tell me what to do next, Roy.
We'll see this as a kind of a theme throughout the movie, but both the main characters and all the secondary characters don't really bat an eye at any of the events.
Not a thing. Nope.
People
It's
just seem
all
to
easy.
say, "Oh, you were in that plane crash. Come
Glad
wedding
to
dress
see you."
shopping now."
Good to
Like,
see you.
what?
So like I don't know, very quickly after that she wakes up in an apartment and she's just home in Boston, right?
Home in Boston,
In her
in
place.
her bed.
A lot of post-it note action around town. I'm trying to think what's like a good clean spot to go to next. I mean, like
This was confusing because she's in her actual bed.
yeah, like
in her
nothing even
house.
happened.
Like nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it really made me wonder, like, what is going on? Because
I know, and he took
Now
like
it-
a pedestrian flight, like this super
Now-
spy.
it almost had
rogue.
the energy of like A Christmas Carol or something like that, where
like, are we
Tom
about to get a
Cruise
dream
was a ghost who would visit her every night and take her on fantastical journeys to teach her lessons. Because how else would she wake up in her bed? Like,
Yes, this is a real device of like a lot of movies, but it's like it has you questioning like the whole first act of what you've just seen. You're like, wait,
Yes.
what? But pretty quickly they betray that because like there's post-its everywhere, presumably from Roy, right? Or
Yes.
yeah. And then her ex-flame Rodney shows up, who's a big dum-dum. But
big dum-dum.
he's like, I heard you were on that flight that went down. And she's like, what? No. And he's like, oh, well, okay. You want to go to dinner?
She brushes him off real quick, and we come to
Real
find out
quick.
later in the movie that I guess they had been dating before, but
Yeah, like who cares?
he has like 1/1000th the charm of Tom Cruise that
I
it's not a
know.
fair fight.
Not even close. It's interesting. It's like you got to give these like no-namer actors a shot. So that's where you plug them in. You just plug
Yeah.
them in opposite Tom Cruise and you're like, yep, that's where you belong.
Yeah. Sorry,
Make
buddy.
him seem more magnetic. But okay, Boston's kind of short-lived. She goes to her sister's like wedding. She goes to like a fitting for her sister's wedding dress. She looks amazing in this like stunning yellow.
She's
And
there for
then
90 seconds.
90 seconds before I guess the feds are on her case because they're like, oh shit, you
Yeah.
know this guy Roy. We saw you with him.
Right.
Why don't you step outside? She gets in the car with them. She's real chatty about it. And then Roy, who is Tom Cruise, is not far behind, just ready to get her out of it again in another wonderful chase. So much fun.
This was a great chase scene because
Mm-hmm.
it had action and it had
Dialogue.
comedy.
Yeah, the dialogue.
Even when the body count continued to
To
skyrocket,
climb.
people were dying left
and right.
in funny ways. I truly like I can replay it in my head, like when Cameron Diaz is in the car and everyone's getting picked off left and right, and she just looks at the person next to her and she goes, the dot's on your back now.
Yeah. The laser, the red laser
from the sniper thing. She goes, the dot's on your back now.
And such comedy in that ending where she throws the door open and it rips off its hinges and then destroys the van behind them, shoots them up. It's just so funny. And then Tom just climbs right in.
Yeah.
Guys, this is a great chase.
What I liked is that, like, I really don't like violence and I don't like being scared, but this movie was so silly that
it wasn't scary.
It allowed the violence to be okay. Like,
yeah, you gotta get away. You gotta get okay with it.
Hundreds of people just died, and like
literally so
hundreds of people died.
Like federal agents and pedestrians.
Like massacred, mowed down.
Like your tax dollars went to these people's salaries and they're just gone.
They're gone. And now we got to pay the pension.
No, I was about to say, now you have to pay the pension.
More money now.
But we're not thinking about that. I was very confused, like, who's the bad guy in this? Like, are the feds, is like the literal FBI, are they the bad guy? And like Roy is the good guy? Or like that's what they want you to believe because they cast Tom Cruise. You know?
It did have, and this is where I think some of like the Scientology messaging is a little bit, might be bleeding over, but it's very this movie is very anti-government, CIA. Yes. It's very much of the belief that you yourself know what's best over anyone else.
Yeah, it's like, super American, that like fierce individual. Like,
yeah, it's like
you know better than the whole government.
Organizations are bad. Being told what to do is bad. Listening to other people is bad. Like that's the message.
I wrote this. I was like, this movie is like anti-government, but fiercely like capitalistic because like he's allowed to go off and get the best price for this battery.
Right.
But like the government.
They're sort of protecting. Yeah, it's interesting you say that because what Tom Cruise is ultimately doing in this movie is championing the free market.
Yeah, the free market. He's like, I want the best price for my friend Simon.
Because the government is trying to control it by taking this Energizer bunny battery for themselves and taking it off the market and setting their own price. But Tom Cruise,
the quote.
What?
What they call the battery, the first perpetual energy source since the sun.
We've used this phrase before, but in one ear out the other. I was like, I don't have time to process this information about this battery.
Yeah, it is the first perpetual energy source since the sun. Lulled so hard. I laughed so goddamn hard at this stupid little battery.
So funny.
While Tom is clutching like a little iPhone 3.
Yeah.
And we're led to believe this is like the best technology they got.
But there were two. Wait, before we move on from the chase, there were two funny Cameron moments that I can't not mention.
She shines.
Number one, when her and Tom reunite and they're in the car, and Cameron just looks at him and goes, "Can you pull over?" Because she wants to get out.
She's like, "Pull over." Yeah. And I was like, she's right. Pull over.
I
was like, I can't do that, June.
And then this was really funny, but when they eventually do stop and she's running through the city and she's carrying a gun with her and she's waving it to hail a taxi.
She's like, and then she puts it in a
mailbox.
I was screaming.
It was really funny.
I found myself in that moment really empathizing. I was like, oh my God, what would I do with this gun? And logical Shanelle's like, oh, I'd call the cops, I'd turn it in, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, just ditch it. Just ditch it
with your fingerprints on it and everything.
Just put it in the mailbox.
But she's a true, and I know that this is very much reminiscent of our marveling at Jennifer Lopez putting the coins on the bus. But I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this, You have to watch her wave this gun around and then put it in the mailbox. This is not something that any old actor could do. It was very
It's her.
particular.
She owns it. She owns the moment.
scene.
She
'Cause
owns
it's a busy
all of her.
scene. It's a busy scene, but yet she marbles us.
She owns all of the gun acting in this.
So much gun acting.
In the jokey and like in the jokey tone of this movie, which like I can only just lean into that they were kidding the whole time. Like I don't want to think that this was at any point serious.
This does remind me of when we talked about, and you talked about Jingle All the Way, and where it's like
Psycho.
It's like
plot.
we're gonna make a movie about a bomb and guns, and just like the funny part about the movie is the guns. It's like
a punchline of that movie is a bomb threat in the U.S. Postal Service, like in a package.
like
this isn't funny.
The punchline of this movie is that like, oh,
everyone could die.
Everyone's gonna die.
Yeah, there's a lot of gun stuff. We've really seen that taper off, or at least I haven't seen it a ton, but I've been working my way through a lot of 80s, 90s flicks, and yeah, guns galore. Just guns, guns, guns. It's America.
Guns
You
galore.
get a gun when you come of age.
Yeah.
But, so she, like, they make it through that chase, and like I said, again, Cameron has no pulse. She's just, like, ready to get back to her life. And does she
She's
meet up
not
with
fazed
Rodney?
by this
At all. Not fazed at all.
Well, she does. Wait.
She is trying to get away from Roy at this point. And at this point, she's like, wow, you've taken me on
right. After
two
this,
scary rides.
she does go to the firehouse, right?
Yeah,
'Cause after the
see
chase,
Rodney.
she meets up with Rodney, and he uses her distress as a reason to take her to lunch. And
yeah, which I was not okay with.
not okay with, and just like she's obviously in distress. She's not in a good mood right now. And he's not picking up what she's putting down.
Because men don't
listen. He didn't listen, and very much like in Made in Manhattan, he also wasn't looking. He didn't see her because she was fidgeting, and she was like literally like,
she's not okay.
Let's go. We have to go.
And he's like, babe, come on. No, he wasn't that bad, but like, I don't want to spend too much time on Rodney, but I have to say it was so deeply uncomfortable when they are getting lunch, and then Roy does show up. So Tom Cruise like shows up again, surprise.
Yeah.
And Cameron's like, "This is the guy. Like, this is the guy." And Tom Cruise, ever the charismatic one, goes to Rodney, and he's like just flattering the shit out of him. And Rodney's like, "What do you mean? Like, this is a good guy." And I just was so uncomfortable. It was like another one of those moments where the plot hinged on like gaslighting this woman for dear life.
Yeah, and I guess
like,
and we've
crazy.
been dancing around it, but this is maybe now the second time, or maybe it's happened only once. But the only reason that Cameron Diaz is getting to and from these different set pieces is that she is being drugged by Tom Cruise and being forcibly moved across time zones. So
I had such fun like imagining him just carting this dead weight around. Like, it's so hard to move a person.
That's why I said I'd rather live in my world where this is like a Christmas Carol, and these are just dreams at night.
It's a ghost.
But
yeah,
they try to escape that diner or the luncheonette, whatever, and Tom Cruise takes Cameron Diaz hostage and threatens to shoot everybody, and then
and her.
Okay, and, wait.
I'm gonna shoot everybody and her. Stay in the booth, Rodney.
On the way out, and I'm jumping out a little bit. On the way out, he goes, "If anybody follows me, I'm gonna shoot myself first, oh, and then her."
Did he say that in that order?
Yes. But on the way out, he's backing up, and he backs into the waiter, and then he pushes the waiter down on the ground. And he's like, sorry, thought he was making a move. And then he points the gun at the waiter. He goes, "Pie for everybody. Give everybody in the restaurant pie."
And in that moment, I couldn't help but pause and immediately think, is it apple pie season yet?
Ooh, yum.
I think it is. I think we're like on the tails of apple pie season. So I had like a little spin out yesterday at this point in the movie. Like I actually had to pause, consider, think about how my taste bud, like I can't taste, so apple pie wouldn't be a good move. And then I was like, I'm back in. Okay, so she's held hostage.
I feel like if I was in a restaurant and Tom Cruise was there, I bet he orders dessert for the restaurant, even if he's not taking anyone hostage.
I would hope so, because he has like a lot of bad PR to overcome at all times. Like,
He
you
has a
need
lot
to
of bad
be
PR, but I think he's
extra
truly
nice.
unaware. I don't think he's aware
Yeah,
of who people think he is.
I am so scared of Scientology. Like, do I want to say this on this pod? Like, I feel like it can't be
Oh
that
no!
bad. It can't.
Oh, we've said this before.
We've said this before.
I would like to take the introductory course, the one where they tell you how to communicate and how to like essentially like create that aura.
Yeah,
Now,
that magnetism.
the problem is once you get roped in. But I've heard the introductory course is quite good.
I would love to take the introductory course without ever having to give like a phone number or an email address. Do you
That's
know what I
the
mean?
hard part. That's
the hard part, skirting around that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, whatever. We'll get off of Tom Cruise's like personal life. But she's held hostage again. She's drugged up again. I'm trying to think. Do we want to go where they're like being pulled in that car?
Which part?
No, I mean, they have like a lot of really great dialogue in this movie. So I'll just like hit, when they're both sitting in the car and he's showing her the Zephyr for the first time. And she's like, it looks like Tom has never driven a day in his life because he's not looking at the road.
Oh, because when they're on the car delivery truck?
Yeah, and then they pull out and they're on a car delivery truck.
Oh, sorry. Jumped ahead. Ruined your delivery.
Ruined it. No, you helped me. But I want to talk about a piece of dialogue in there where she goes, "Were you an Eagle Scout?" No, he goes, and he's like, "Yes," and she's like, "I was a brownie." And I think that was like another moment we were supposed to be like, "Wow, they're meant to be together."
I literally wrote down, "Wait, are they in love?" Because the movie had been so chaotic up until this point that I didn't have a chance to breathe and think about the fact that it's a man and a woman in a movie. They must be in love.
There must be some tension. Yeah, I just like can't. I like skimmed through this movie again today just with the idea in the back of my head that she wants to have sex with him at every point in this movie. And I guess that's the best justification I can come up with for why she just goes along with everything he puts her through.
It has to be him
so
because
weird.
it's really hard to get excited about a battery. So
I know.
It has to. You're right. It has to be him. Why else would she be there?
Has to be him. And okay, one more question about who Tom Cruise is working for. So he's like rogue, like he broke off from the CIA or the FBI, one of those, and he's rogue. Is he just an independent contractor right now for Simon? He's like, let's protect the man who made this battery.
I think so.
Is that who's like paying him? Is that the paycheck?
He's described as a secret agent, which did make me wonder. And maybe we'll kind of untangle what this means as we go. But what is a secret agent?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like, what do they? I for the first time I really thought to myself, what does a secret agent do? Because he sounds like a bodyguard.
Yeah, 100%. And this was the first time.
But they call him a secret agent.
Yeah. And like this was the first time I like actually stopped and thought like, who is he working for? Like if he's not working for the government, then like we only are left to believe he's like working independently. And like those are like time and time again the bad guys in movies when you're working independently.
But it also didn't seem like he was really okay. It didn't seem like he was doing anything wrong because
no, I know he wasn't. But the government was on his tail.
He had been employed by the CIA at one point. His current job is a secret agent, whatever you want to call it. He's a bodyguard for this
Simon,
inventor. And he's tasked right now with protecting the battery. That to me does not sound illegal.
Yeah, or rogue. He went rogue. But maybe
rogue.
there was like maybe there was like something we were just supposed to like understand that there's something unscripted that just happened and he went rogue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, right. I'm still with you.
Unless the CIA had like wanted him to be a plant at this battery operator, whatever. And then he just went on his own. But it was hard to really grasp what his job was.
Yeah. And like I said, like you just pointed out, like it didn't seem wrong to protect Simon and protect this battery. And it seemed like the U.S. government were the bad guys because they were trying to undercut his price. Like he wanted to get his price when they went to Austria.
Fair market value.
Fair market value. And the government was like, no, we want the battery for us. And I was like,
Right.
well, Simon deserves his fair price, and like
His
Tom
fair
Cruise deserves his
price.
cut. So what's wrong with you?
And when we meet Simon, we realize he's not up to protecting himself.
No, 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 no,
He's
no, no.
he's he's not okay.
He's slight.
He is very
I love
slight.
Paul Dano a lot. Good choice. Again, with
great
shorthand.
choice for the character.
Yeah, when we need this shorthand, we got it. It was like Viola Davis, powerful, empowered. Because they weren't really making a choice if the government was good or bad, so they give us Viola Davis. She's good. Like, this is a good woman. When they give us Peter Skarsgård,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, like, spoiler alert, Peter Skarsgård ends up being the baddie, and it's like, of course, of course, he looks like one. He's
You're
the
right.
bad guy.
With Paul Dano, it automatically, and sorry, Paul, if you're a fan of the podcast, but it communicates this idea that he's helpless right off the bat. Like, just his presence on screen screams helpless.
I mean, that's why he got cast. So
That's why he got cast.
Pay those bills, Paul.
Pay those bills. So they're
Yeah. Oh, we have to get to the beach. We have to go to the beach now.
Oh, right. Oh my God.
Drugs
so she's
her
drugged. She's drugged again.
Drags this dead weight on a plane. They presumably jump out of the plane because we're getting flashes. We're getting flashes of her opening her eyes. And
Oh my God, terrifying.
He's got like a helicopter like mask on, and he's like, "It's okay, June. We're gonna be fine. Just a little bit longer." They jump out of a plane, presumably. Him with a dead body, essentially
her
strapped to him.
face flapping in the wind on the way down.
I wish we got that. I wish we got like the lips moving. And then they're on a boat, and then they're at his private island.
Private island.
This pretty lady wakes up in a red bikini.
She looks amazing.
She looks absolutely flawless. Bitch remembered to shave day before she got on this flight from Wichita. Good for her.
We should buy her book. That book.
Oh, I'm buying her book as soon as we hang up.
Because I want to look like that.
Of course, I want to look like that. She's so hot in this bikini. And it's another funny. It's just so funny. It's like, how did I get
It's funny
here?
because not only did he drug her and skydive with her, he changed her.
When I saw this in 2010, I thought that was like so like titillating. Like, what's the word?
Right, like it's sexy.
Salacious.
Yeah.
It was so like, sexy, which is not okay. The consent is important.
Consent. Yeah.
I scream laughed when he comes out of the ocean with two massive fish, like two tunas.
Yeah. Two tunas, as like they're playing Survivor. Like he has the equipment that you would have on Survivor.
And he is like, his body is shredded up, and he comes out with like two fish that you wouldn't even see win like a grand prize at a competition. Like that, they are so much bigger than that. It's not even funny. Plucked from a local fish market.
It is funny.
Clearly.
It is funny.
It is so funny. And then she's like, "Where am I?" And he's like, we're off the grid, which is a lol.
Which is a true lol, as we will see in a moment.
As we will see. And they're off the grid, and she now has like beachy waves, like her hair is no longer straight.
Yeah, and her hair's been kissed by like the salt air.
The salt air got to her. And truly my favorite exchange in the movie is when she's like, "How did I get in this bathing suit or whatever?" And he's like, "June, I've been trained to disarm a bomb with just like a knife and a junior mint. I'm sure I can get you in and out of some clothes without looking." I'm not saying that's what I did. So funny.
Hearing
so
it read
hot.
back in your voice is uncomfortable.
Wrong.
I think
So
when he said it, I gave him more clearance. But hearing it from you,
It's just creepy.
I don't like it. I don't like when you say it.
I'll take that criticism. It's so scary.
But you're right.
But-
It's so wrong. It's so wrong that I guess it's right.
I'll make a vulnerable admission.
Oh,
I have never forgotten that line. When
since
I
you
first
saw
saw
it in
this,
2010.
since I saw it in 2010, I was looking forward to this moment. I knew it was coming, and I love it. And it's problematic. It is so problematic.
It's funny
But-
though because when
oh my
she
God.
gets up and she and she walks down the beach looking amazing, and she's wearing the bikini. Of course, I think to myself, how did she put the bikini on? But
Yeah.
I truly didn't think, I thought, given the tone of the movie so far, I really thought they're not going to address that. Like, why? Like, they could have
why
very
bother?
easily, they could have very easily not even addressed the bikini. Right?
Yeah,
And
maybe
like,
that's a one for your case of self-awareness for this movie.
yeah. So my only way that I reconcile that scene is like, I feel like, or what I can only hope is that they were making fun of like scenes where this has happened before and they don't address it. Because when you
Wow.
do address it, there's no way that you can't explain that
Wow.
in ever, right? Like there's no
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this happens all the time in movies. Like we just wake up and they just have there's like an outfit change that we didn't see.
It's not like
Yeah.
listen,
Wow.
if when she was skydiving, right? And I'll lower my voice for this, maybe she had an accident.
Oh, maybe.
And then you change, maybe you have to change. But
Yeah.
you would maybe put her in pants. But to put but
Where did bikini?
this,
Where did he get the
you know,
bikini?
where do you get the bikini? What, you know what I mean? There's the
He's had other female suitors at the
That
island.
was the only way that I could wrap my head around it. I felt like they were making fun of scenes like this that because we have seen this scene before where like the lady wakes up wearing something different after being drugged or drinking or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that one and I'm going to say that makes me feel a little better. Let's
Yeah.
just hope they were going for that.
I
You know,
hope-
like
I
let's
pray.
laugh.
Let's
yeah,
laugh
because
instead of cry. What's
literally.
what's the expression? It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile.
to smile. Yeah, it's truly a snappy bit of dialogue, and I will go with the parody of it all.
Okay.
I love that. I love that. I hope it was intentional, and I think it was. I actually do because
okay.
we all know that that's a problem.
Okay.
So
Wait, take us to the next part because it's truly one of my favorite parts because you already teed it up. But so they're on an island that has that's described as off
the
the
grid.
grid.
and she walks away with no less than 2 devices
Why
in a
does she
purse.
have 2 phones?
She has his iPhone 3.
Yeah.
First generation iPhone that is like geared up to a random address in the country.
Right.
I think
A
Boston.
random. Yeah.
And she zooms in on it and she's like, that's a blah, 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 blah car. Like she knows what kind of car is out front of that house, which we have to
Much
put in our
like
pockets
with
for
Miss
later.
Congeniality, I wish I knew more about bombs. With this movie, I wish I knew more about Pontiacs because
Yes, cars in
this is
general.
really a movie for the Pontiac lover in the home. So if
Quite
there's-
actually.
if there's a Pontiac lover in your house,
Show
you know
them
what
this
to get
movie.
them for Christmas. Oh, yeah. Say,
Get
hey,
them the DVD.
I have some questions about this documentary. Can you
Documentary.
can you
But then
help?
she walks off, and she goes through the purse, and she gets her phone, which is receiving a phone call.
receive
It received a call. The ringtone went off, and she
Full
received
bar.
full bars. Receives a phone call, but she picks it up, and she's like, "April, yes, because she has to get back for her sister's wedding." And we're led to
right.
believe, like, okay, yeah, of course, they're off the grid, so no service. So she doesn't really get the call, but she does.
It's I
because-
guess it's like maybe a little bit crunchy, but the call comes through.
Yeah. Oh, it goes through. Like roaming was on.
I mean, I go to the basement of Zara, the subterranean floor, and you don't get service, right? Like that's a dead zone. This island, you could still get a call.
Yeah, you walk
He
to
was
the
he was geolocating with image. She was using Google Earth. There must have been pretty good service.
And I love how for this like plot point to work, he has to lose sight of her. So she's just been in a coma for like 36 hours, and he just like lets her. He's like, yeah, go ahead, go take a walk.
Yeah, feel out the island.
Yeah, go enjoy my home. So she
Yeah.
walks off, receives a phone call. They get back to the beach, and my favorite thing is she's had it with him, so they have a little tussle, and
Yeah.
they roll on the
Oh.
beach like in Mamma
God.
Mia.
They
roll.
yeah, it was sexy.
So sexy.
It was very lay all your love on me.
Yeah. And at that point, that's when I asked myself the $100 question. Cameron, is this a game?
Is
Is this a game?
It was, and this was a scene, and I know, this is not a subject we want to treat lightly, but these two they're not well. They, on their first roll, they both have angry faces. And then by the third roll, as they're rolling across the beach, they're smiling and laughing.
Cheesing.
I was like, oh, no.
It was like, lay all your love on me.
Yeah,
That was the
very
scene.
sexy. Very sexy. I was ready for him to do a little penguin walk and dance.
Oh, that image is burned in my brain forever. So hot. So within seconds, though, their little romantic moment is broken up because, surprise, the government found them based on that little phone call. They come to the island, and I was very sad to see his home blow up. Very upset. It looked very nice.
But he's like, did you make a call? And she's like, no. I just received one.
I just took one.
Yes.
And they're like in the water. That reaction shot is so funny. They like come above, they like spit water out, and they're like, did you? I didn't make a call, did you? No, I took one. So many balls have to be dropped for this movie to work.
Yeah, literally.
Everyone's he's so good at his job, and he can like jump from car to car, but he like loses track of Cameron for 10 seconds. She makes a call.
She makes a call. And it just makes you wonder why they even bothered to say it's a dead zone in the beginning. Because it being a dead zone actually doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't affect the plot at all. Because it's not a dead zone. Because she has cell
They weren't
service.
trusting us. They weren't trusting their audience.
You're right.
There's a lot of mistrust. The way she's like, I'm a mechanic. I brought my parts up from Wichita. My sister's getting married tomorrow.
Oh, she was lying about that.
My family's checking in on me. Yes? No, I guess they don't care if I'm alive.
No.
All right. So now I was really sad to see the island go, but it's gone. And he's like, June, you told me not to drug you. So then he pressure points her, which is the same thing as drugging her.
If not worse. I'd rather be drugged than have somebody pinch my nerves to put me out.
I know, it's so scary. And then again, she is just carted off, which, you know what?
How?
I know. But like, if we want to hit this many locales in this condensed amount of time, there's no choice but for her to be dark so that we can just wake up in a new spot.
You're right. It is
as
easier.
An audience.
It is easier.
It was a total.
I don't want to see them traveling. I just want to be in the new spot.
Exactly. I don't want to see the travel. I just want to wake up on a train car somewhere in the Alps in Austria. Beautiful.
That was wonderful. Beautiful. You know what I've always wanted to do? I've always wanted to take an Amtrak sleeper car for like a long distance train ride.
You see, your track record with flights and like confined seating makes me think you might not love that.
I might have to get off after the first stop.
The first stop. I took an overnight train. I think I took an overnight train when I was like 14 from Greece to France. Oh. And it was a fucking nightmare. It was a nightmare.
But did you have a private car?
No, I like shared it with some other rando, and I was on like a tour for little children called People to People.
Oh, I did People to People.
Shut. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did People to People, but I didn't do an international People to People. I did
Shut
a domestic.
Up. Where did you go?
I did one in Washington D.C.
How old were you?
I was in 7th grade.
Oh my God. So I had just finished 8th grade. Oh no. I just finished, I don't know, I was 14. Maybe I just finished 8th grade. I have a lot to say about People to People. I think it's fucked up.
I had a very weird experience. Like,
did you like it?
It was okay. So People to People is this program. I think
we have to
by
go
Dwight D. Eisenhower. And they tell you that a million times. And
yeah,
I guess it's like cultural immersion. I don't know what the goal of it was, to be honest. I guess People to People, you meet other people.
People to people. It's in the name.
My trip was a week in Washington, D.C. And
nice and short.
It was a week, but I'd been to Washington, D.C. dozens of times.
Why did you go?
Because I wonder if this was the same for you. You get nominated by your teachers.
Oh my God, and it feels so flattering.
So it felt like such an honor to be nominated by my teacher to be the one to go.
Mm-hmm. I felt that way too. I was like,
so I felt like I had to go, and like
I felt like I have to go.
I'm sure your parents were the same way, but like they were also like, whoa.
Yeah, it felt
This is a
prestigious.
presidential envoy that you've been invited to.
You have to do this, and it's in no way, shape, or form a ploy to get $2,000 from your parents.
Oh, it's very expensive. It's a scam.
So expensive. It's a total scam. Speaking of capitalism in this movie.
Yeah. So they're on a train.
I hated my people to people trip. It was 21 days. I was like 14.
Whoa.
It was Italy, France, Greece. And when I say it is the cheapest accommodations money can buy.
They put 3 of us in a DoubleTree hotel room.
Yes.
Someone had to sleep on a cot.
So scary. It was a train wreck from the beginning. Day 1 on the Acropolis, a girl broke her femur on my trip. Which is not funny, but it's so funny. Those steps on the Acropolis, marble, very slippery. She breaks a femur, the hardest bone in your body to break. Only thing more painful than childbirth, breaks a femur.
How?
She gets shipped home day 1. Shipped home.
Shipped home.
Which I would have went home
like
too.
Cameron Diaz. You should have
Shipped
gone
home.
with her. You should go
Drug
with
her
her.
and ship her home. It was the worst trip of my life. Everyone got a stomach bug, so there was just like constant that going on. I won't speak on it. In Greece, we got in trouble for taking our bath towels to the beach. And my leader nominated me to go to the hotel staff and apologize in Greek. And like we like looked up how to say it, and of course I didn't say it right. It was a nightmare. You had to like, if you were a vegetarian, your parent had to say it before the trip. So I'll never forget.
Otherwise, you had to eat meat.
Yeah. So I'll never forget. We go to this like place in France, and they're giving everyone pizza, and everyone was like, "Can we just get plain pizza?" And they're like, "No. If you're a vegetarian, you get the plain pizza. If you're not vegetarian, you have to get pizza with ham." So we all got pizza with ham.
There were, now that you're saying about it, there were like a lot of very
weird.
strict yet arbitrary rules of the program.
Oh my God. We weren't allowed to bring our like iPods at the time. And I was the only one who took the note seriously. So all of my friends on the 8-hour tour bus rides had iPods, and I didn't. I had a series of unfortunate events, 1, 2, and 3 to read.
So when we went,
hardcover.
Okay. When we went, they told us also, like, you're not allowed to bring your cell phone with you, like, during the activities.
Rude.
They took us to a mall, and they said,
No cell phone.
They said, use this time to buy a watch if you want to know what time it is during the day. And they made us go to the mall and buy watches. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to know what time it was during the day. And they're like,
it's like abusive.
They literally were like, we're going to take you to monuments and you'll have 30 minutes there. And if you don't have a watch, you're not going to know when to come back for the bus. I was like, what?
Give me my goddamn cell phone, you idiots.
I don't know a lot about Eisenhower, but this could not have been his vision for this program.
I kind of want to like come out with it. Like I want an expose on people to people. It was just like a way to get money from like rich kids.
It was a cash grab.
It was a total cash grab. I went with kids who had gone 3 years prior and went 3 years after. I didn't go. It was
once you're
ridiculous.
In the system, they invite you on all the trips.
On all of them. And it felt like such an honor, and quickly I realized it was not an honor at all.
And they make it sound like this is going to help you in life. Like this will help you get into college, your career.
I was a people-to-people student ambassador you would put on your resume. No one gave a fucking shit that you vacationed in Italy, France, and Greece on people-to-people when you were 14. You could have went to DC with your parents.
Right.
And there was all this shit about being a representative of the United States, which is very like propaganda-y, and I don't love.
Yeah, we had to wear vests.
All right, so we're going to do a separate pod on people to people if we use any of this. So gear up, fam.
Yeah.
Glad we went there. Okay, we're on the train.
Yeah.
And it was just beautiful. It was beautiful, and Cameron can't stop just chatting. She's so chatty on this train.
She's chatty, and she inadvertently blows the cover of why she's there to a charming man at the bar.
Because she misses her Post-it note, the shoe Post-it note.
On her shoe. And she goes, she's in the cafe car, and she has what? An omelet and...
Oh my God. Did you get the kicker?
Pancakes.
And did you get the punchline?
Milk?
a glass of milk.
Glass of milk on a train.
I think that was another like check in the tomboy category. Or like this
Yeah.
chick doesn't care. Milk.
She doesn't care. She's gonna drink milk on a luxury train.
Where we don't know where the bathrooms are. I haven't seen them yet.
Mm-mm.
Could be multiple train cars away. We don't know.
We don't know.
So she blows their cover. And how do they get off the train to Austria? Is it another drug situation?
Yeah, I mean, there's a fight with a guy, and Tom Cruise takes him out. There's more funny banter, and then I think he must drug her again because they wake up in Austria, right?
Yep, they wake up in
Salzburg.
Austria. Beautiful hotel room. So at this rate, I think she's been drugged 3 times, or at least drugged twice and pressure pointed once.
When she wakes up in Austria, again, she has almost no reaction to any of the events.
None.
She wakes up in Austria, wanders to the balcony, and just mutters to herself, Salzburg, Austria. Very nice. It's like, what?
What is going on here?
About?
So, okay, maybe now's a good time to mention, in the very first scene when they're on the plane together, they kind of give each other their like bucket listy things, like things that they want to do someday, in air quotes. The someday list, remember?
Yeah.
And I was like curious to see if we would work our way through one of their respective someday lists.
Yeah.
Tom gives like a list of things he wants to do. He's like, kiss a stranger on the balcony here, do this, do that. So when she walked out to the balcony, I was waiting for that to be the
Right.
locale and for him to kiss a stranger.
Action.
Yeah, nope, not it. We're just
No,
somewhere pretty.
If anything, the opposite. He's on his balcony talking
Two
to
different balconies.
another lady.
Ooh, and you know who this lady is?
Okay, I hope this isn't controversial. I don't like Gal Gadot.
Gal
Gadot.
Gadot. I don't know how to say her name properly, but I think
Gal
that's
Gadot
it. Gal
is in this movie. Okay, just note that.
Shocked to see her.
Shocked to see and hear her voice.
Yeah, here is a big thing. She's got a real distinct voice.
She's doing some sexy eating in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it sounds like from their conversation that Tom Cruise is going to sell the battery to Gal Gadot's boss.
Yeah, her buyer or whatever.
Or whatever.
Whatever. Okay. Yeah, and then Cameron gets jealous, is what we're led to believe.
She gets jealous, but she also has a moment where she questions, like, is everything that I thought about this guy right or wrong? And I did actually really, really appreciate this moment because I love, and this happened in second act too, but I love when you are figuring out things in real time with a character. And like part of the fun of this movie is that you really, until the end, obviously, but you really never know more than Cameron Diaz does in the movie because you really only see things through her point of view. Like the only scene that we get of Tom Cruise at the dinner is what Cameron sees through the window.
Yes. Which is why we're just okay with being blacked out and we just wake up in new locations.
Yeah, like you never get a scene. You rarely get a scene that Cameron Diaz is not like privy to. So
Yeah. That was intentional. I felt that.
Yes.
I know what you mean. I appreciate the questions. It's a way to treat our audience a little, like not treat us like total idiots, which, you know.
Here's a
ebb and flow with that.
counterexample. I tried to watch that movie, which I know I pronounce it wrong, but I call it Tenet. I know it's called Tenant. But what I don't...
I was like, where's this going, Tenet?
Here's why I don't like Tenet, is that I don't like when a movie makes you feel like an idiot. Like,
yeah, they just keep you in the dark.
Keeps you in the dark for reasons that are only there to make the movie seem smart. And what I could appreciate about Night and Day was that the plot is just as crazy as Tanae, but it doesn't make any pretense to make you think like you should understand what's going on.
Okay, yes, agree. I'm with you there. You're just as
You don't lose
jostled
anything.
as she
You don't
is.
lose anything watching this movie by not understanding.
Yeah, yeah. That's how the movie works. That's like the bones of it.
Right.
Literally only how it works. And I appreciate her questioning. And in this moment in time, she does like the thing that finally feels like real human behavior too. She outs him to the feds, like to the government.
Yeah.
Which like is kind of overdue. It's like long overdue. He's skirted her around enough. I'm like,
Drugged her.
yes, this is what you would do in this situation. You would sell him out. So she kind of like rats him out with a pen click.
Right. She rats him out, and she rats him out to the CIA, which you would assume is an organization that you would report an international criminal to. So
Yes.
I agree.
Fair.
Like it felt very human to be like, I'm gonna push the pause button now. I've had enough.
Yeah. And this is like the most grounded moment where there's like a standoff. T. Cruz jumps into the river and we're led to believe he's dead with the Zephyr on his person.
Correct.
And Cameron finally goes somewhere without being drugged. She's just put on a plane home,
Right. They send her home.
which was shocking, quite honestly. I didn't even want to see that.
Yeah, I was like, give her a
Give her
Xanax, or
Xanax.
something, just to let her
So we
calm
can wake
down
up
a little
home.
bit. But I did appreciate before that. I love seeing Tom Cruise run. So watching him get some run scenes on the roof, that was fun.
Rooftop
No one
jumps.
runs like Tom.
I know, he's such a good runner. Also, I had like the little laugh to myself. What if like Tom Cruise was out of commission for like a Mission Impossible movie because he hurt himself on Night and Day? Just like
It's a hard one
That-
to let down.
that is a news story, kills me. Could you imagine?
Yeah,
It's like Tom Cruise
to this
out
day,
of commission.
Tom Cruise still nursing an injury from the set
From
of
Night
Night
and
and
Day.
Day.
That is
Basically.
so funny to me. And he did all of his own stunts.
Oh, for sure. Now, I will say this. The stunts were fun. Like,
Very fun.
the running, skydiving, jumping. I love that.
I love it. I love him on the roof of a
that.
car, rolling
I
into the
love on the
car.
roof of a car. Motorcycles.
This is like way back in the beginning, but Cameron, the first place they go to try to find Simon, Cameron steps out alone in this Simon's warehouse and she's got the gun in her hand and she's going like pew 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 and she's like
Oh, pretending to shoot, and all those people are like,
and they're all behind her like sizing her up.
like
just
ducking
like
as
love
she turns
that.
the gun around, but she doesn't see
Yeah,
them. It's so
it's
funny.
so funny. It's just funny, and I'm like, I would do that. Like you would do that if you had a toy gun in your hand. You'd be like pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
And then Tom Cruise like comes and uses her arm and the very loaded gun to shoot the people for her.
Literally.
It's just funny.
And then when they're
good
trying to
stunts.
escape that scene, he's gonna count to 3, but he counts 1, and
One.
then she runs.
And she runs out, and then she gets like she just like a
She dodges
1,000
no less
blanks
than
come at her
3,000 bullets.
in that
like,
2 seconds. 3,000 bullets come at her. She comes back, and he's like, "What number do you want to go on?" And she goes, "3's good. Three's fine." She's like, "I'm sorry, I panicked."
So funny.
There's a lot of like panicking in the wrong places. Like you
Yeah.
can't freak out when there's 3,000 bullets coming at you. I mean,
Right.
you should freak out. I'm just saying you don't go early on that.
But that scene is really, hearing it again in the context of what we've been saying, I think it is really brilliant because
Self-aware. Yeah, you're right.
it's
I just like
self-aware, but it's also like we have so many scenes where like hot guy, hot girl are in a gunfight and the guy goes 1, 2, like he's gonna count to 3, and then they instantly know on 3 they're gonna run. But
yeah.
But it's like it is poking fun at that idea of like, why would you run at 3? Why wouldn't you just run? Like
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're totally right. That age-old joke of like the woman's gonna stop him and be like, "Wait, do we go on 3 or like and
Yeah,
3?"
she just
and you're
goes.
like, "What?" So she just goes. Yeah, that was really funny. I forgot to mention it in the top, but it goes with like the stunts of it all. It's so fun and so funny. And okay, so we're in Austria, and boom, she turns him in. She flies home, coach. and makes it to her sister's wedding, which is pretty shocking. Pretty
Don't
shocking.
remember that scene.
Don't care. It was
Don't
like just 2 seconds of the
in and
scene.
out.
Yeah, the venue couldn't even have
Couldn't
no
tell
idea
you.
what it looked like.
But yeah, the wedding is done, and she decides she's going to go to the address that she happened
Yeah.
to internalize
From the desert island with no
from
service.
the desert island.
Yeah,
Now,
she
to remember
misses Roy.
things post 3 druggings, that's pretty talented.
Wow, I know. She wasn't muddy at all. She was sharp, sharp, sharp.
It was very P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney,
Wait,
Australia. Energy.
You're right. It was. It so
Because it wasn't
It was
even
a
like
memorable address.
one main street. It was like 4356 Old Windy, like
Yeah, it
Shallow
was-
Drive East.
I don't remember
was-
it. Clearly, you
remember.
don't.
I don't remember it, but she did.
So she misses Roy, and she's like, I'm going to go to this location because I feel like that might lead me to him. So she shows up, and some more gun humor.
She almost gets shot. So
This
funny.
man comes out and almost kills her. But thank God the sprinkler goes on at this exact moment.
Oh,
And
yes.
nurturing mommy is like, come inside. You're wet. Come in.
Come take a shower in our house.
Yeah. So then cut to, she's in a robe. Don't know how she got there, but at least she wasn't drugged. And
Yeah,
we
she
come to
chose
find
the robe.
out this is Roy's parents' house.
Roy's parents' house.
He's
And
been
we
keeping tabs
learn-
on them on his iPhone 3 this whole time.
Sending them cash. Well, they don't know it's from him, but he's been sending them stuff.
Yeah. Stuff. Just keeping an eye out. Just being a real guardian angel. And really sad, we find out that they think he's dead.
They think he died in
Like a long
the
time ago.
war. A war in the night. I think like the Gulf War.
Some sort of
I
war.
think the 90s is when they think he's
And
dead.
they make it a point, though, to say that he's an excellent swimmer and can hold his breath for a very long time.
That's right.
Mm.
Well, we also learn that his last name,
Is
Knight,
Night.
which helps exactly 0%.
0%. Does it illuminate anything for me?
Doesn't
Nope.
help at all.
I fucking love this. Is such a good movie.
It was funny though because when they say it,
So funny.
you're lying if you didn't have this reaction. You initially have this reaction of Night, like the title.
Night.
And
My
then
night alarms went off early with the little action figure of a knight.
Of
So I
course.
put that to bed. I like put it away. I put
You've
it
been
out of my
saving it,
mind.
though.
But I'd been saving it. So she is like, oh my God, Roy must not be dead. And like she just
I
still
just
is
met
hot
him.
for him. What'd you say?
I just met him.
Just met him. This can't be it. So she makes a call to, I guess, the CIA again and is like,
She
I have
calls
the
her
Zephyr.
voice. She leaves a message on
Oh.
her voicemail.
Did you love that exposition?
This is whatever. Cameron Diaz leaving a message on my voicemail.
My voicemail. This is June leaving a message on my voicemail to whomever is listening.
Yeah.
I have the Zephyr.
Yeah. And if you want it, I'm on the corner of blankety blank and blankety blank.
Yup. Meet her there. Knock her out again. Put a hood on her. Take her to Spain.
Okay, that was okay. I know that again. She's been drugged dozens of times in this movie. This one was really funny because she's standing there like in a circle, being like, "If you want the battery, you better come and
Get
before
it.
she does it, like someone just like stabs a little needle in her neck,
And she's down.
and she's down.
That's really when the comedy kicks in.
So
Good
this
punchline
was
again.
my favorite section of the movie
Spain.
when they give her, I guess, like a truth serum.
Yeah,
right?
truth serum. And she's chatting.
And it works, but not the way they think. She like, instead of like giving up the goods on like what they want, she just like has like this radical honesty instead.
I was obsessed with that.
This was truly like, if she was nominated, or rather she should have been nominated for Best Actress Oscar, and this is like what they should have played at the ceremony.
Yeah, that there's like that long shot. So spoiler alert, Roy has got eyes on her because like wherever that she is with the danger, he's not far behind.
Yeah.
And he's clocking her from across this like Spanish villa or whatever, and
Yeah.
she's just like chatting their
You could
heads off.
It's funny
You
though
just
because they,
hear
they
her.
cut to scenes where it's like a Cameron scene and she's talking, and then they cut to the scenes where it's Roy or Tom Cruise watching from the balcony, and you can still like hear like like from
Yeah.
hundreds of yards away.
It's so funny. And she's just like, I guess now I wish I had more specifics about what she's talking about.
Okay, I wrote down a few because some of my
Yeah,
favorite
give them to
lines.
me.
So they're walking through the courtyard and it's like this elegant garden. And she's like, "Do you guys ever do any gardening? It's really relaxing." And then they're like, "Shut up. We're taking you to whatever special place." And she goes, "Oh, that's so nice. Everybody should have a special place."
It was truly some of the funniest lines in the movie. I just know she was like taking in the locations. She was just like talking a lot about like the decor and like
Yeah.
the gardens, like you said. Once again, we don't believe for a second that she gardens, but it's okay.
It's so
But
funny.
it all culminates into my favorite of the truth serum like spills where she does come face to face with Roy. And they're in like very imminent danger still. And she
There's
just like
there's like 30 people standing around them with machine guns.
yeah. Funny machine guns. The
And
funny
they're having kind of like a small talk.
They're having small talk, and she just like stops and like he's like, okay, like I'm trying to enact some sort of plan, and she goes, Roy, you don't seem very happy to see me.
Yeah.
And then he walks up to her and he just plants a big old romantic kiss on her in like this
Oh my
beautiful
gosh.
doorway in Spain, and I was like, wow.
If you
Wow.
only if you only have 5 minutes
This
to
is
watch
the
this
scene.
movie, this is the scene to watch.
Yeah, I say this or the bikini, but
Or
yeah,
the bikini. The bikini
Yeah.
one if you want to challenge yourself. But if you want to if you want to relax, watch this scene.
watch the scene. Because
You don't wanna
despite like you said, machine guns galore, they take a moment to have their passionate kiss. Finally, finish what they
Finally.
started on the beach,
Yeah.
and so that kiss just
It's
basically
one less thing for
communicates-
us to think about. It's like, okay, they're
Yeah.
good.
Cool, they got it out of the way in case any of them die, which we know
Yeah.
they're not going to die. And so Roy communicates like, I am happy to see you. I'm going to kiss you now. And I mean, what happens after that?
So after that,
care.
they kind of they find their way onto a motorcycle, and there's a
Another
car
chase. Another chase in
through-
Spain, which was beautiful.
Yeah, but it's a pretty busy weekend because there's also the running of the bulls, which is just bad timing. And you know, they chose
Just bad timing.
And I know they didn't, GPS it ahead of time, but they end up on the road with the bulls. The same
Funny.
road. Can you believe that? And they are exchanging gunfire and driving through the bulls.
Yeah, another
And
sexy chase, by the way.
sexy chase. They're straddling each other.
She's straddling him. She's covering behind. He's covering the front.
And this was
They're
a
a
really
team.
interesting scene because Tom Cruise is going to handle the driving of the motorcycle, which seems like something Cameron Diaz should do. And then
Yeah, he should do the shooting.
he gives her the guns, and she's like, "What do I do with these?" And he goes, "Let him have it." And
Action movie.
yeah, and
We want a line like that.
She lights him up with the guns, and she
Yep.
turns out to be a pretty good shot. And we
Moving
learn
targets as well.
this is incredible because I wish I could be somebody like this, like to be somebody who could learn just by watching. Like she watched him, and now she's learned how to kill dozens of people very quickly, and she's really
Yeah.
good at it.
So good at it. That mind to muscle connection for her, top notch. Must
Yeah.
be because she's a mechanic, quite honestly. She understands. Need the
I guess she
engine.
has good fine motor skills, I guess, by kind of tightening wrenches or whatever you do to a car. But again, I really would have thought that she probably would have. I thought it would have been. I'm happy with her being any position. Maybe it would have been nice if they changed halfway through. But I guess I was sort of hoping to see her drive the motorcycle in like a really like sexy way as like
Yeah.
the car specialist.
Okay, so only change to this movie. Just trade those last two spots.
Everything else, well,
Everything else,
I think
perfect.
I like seeing her shoot the guns. All I'm saying is maybe halfway through she could have said, "My
Let's
turn."
switch positions.
Yeah,
It would have been like sexual innuendo too. She'd been like, she's straddling him.
My turn to drive.
Yeah, like she's literally straddling him, facing backward. He's facing forward, very quite literally like in a sex position. And then like she could have been like, let's switch positions.
Oh,
Or I like my turn as well, but let's switch positions is funny.
or like that's all you've got, and then she,
And then
kinda
she like they switch. Kind of like on the beach when they like roll on top of each other. She
Yes.
switches on a moving vehicle, on a moving
Right.
motorcycle. They switch positions.
and all of a
and, like,
sudden it's
boom.
night and day. She's a
Night
better
and day.
driver. That's the only
And he
change
even
I would
makes
make.
a comment.
That's
He
the
makes a
only
comment
change.
about it too. He's like, wow, you can really drive.
Yeah, you drive like a man. No.
You drive like me.
Yeah,
I'm a man.
yeah.
Yeah, it's too good. It's too good. And then, okay, so very quickly, we just come to find out that the rogue one is Peter Skarsgård.
Right.
Because he shoots a member of his own teammate when they've got Simon in the car. And we're like, uh-oh, he was the bad guy all along. He was
he's
the
bad
rogue
guy. He
one.
goes rogue. He kidnaps Simon.
Yes. Quite literally kidnaps because Simon is probably 17.
He's a child.
And he's a baby. I don't really remember how this resolves though, which means I don't really care.
Yeah, I think the only thing, there's this shootout. Again, everybody's trying to either get the battery or get Simon. And
Oh, yes. So then there's a shootout and it comes to a point where Peter Skarsgård is like in a face-off with T. Cruz.
yeah,
And T. Cruz is like, you want the battery? Have it. And he chucks it in their aircraft. And they fly away,
yeah.
right?
He takes the he gives it to Peter Sarsgaard in trade for Simon. And
Yes.
he ends up shooting Simon for fun. And then he gets in the helicopter. But Tom Cruise knew, and we should have seen this coming because the battery is getting hotter and hotter all movie.
The battery has been heating up all week.
Like the sun, and then it explodes, producing a pretty minimal.
Huge.
I thought that was a small explosion.
Oh, it blew up the whole helicopter. How's that small?
I know, but I was sort of looking for.
Took it out of the air.
Yeah, I guess I was looking for a larger cloud.
You just wanted a bigger blast?
I wanted a bigger blast.
I mean, there's a lot of guns in this movie, so we
Yeah.
really didn't. I guess you're right. I guess we needed a bigger blast. I don't know. It took the helicopter down, and again, millions of dollars gone. The
Gone.
battery, the technology in that battery. I guess it's in Simon's head still, but gone. The
dead?
copter. Skarsgård?
No, Simon.
No. Simon's
He survived
good.
the gunshot.
Yeah, because he's like laying on the floor and he's like, "Am I dying?" And Tom Cruise is like, "No, you just fainted." So he didn't get shot. Remember?
Oh. Oh.
You can fact check that
Okay.
in next week's episode for me. But Skarsgård is dead. The copter's dead. The other FBI agent dead.
Everyone, like literally, the hundreds of people that were in pursuit are all dead.
More pensions to families.
Yeah,
Even though he was bad,
he was bad.
more
He was
pensions.
bad, but there were a lot of other casualties who just seemed like they were doing their job.
Quite literally. So yeah, and then we wake up in the hospital. T. Cruz is like wounded, but he saved the day. Viola Davis personally thanks him. She's like, "Oh my gosh, it wasn't you that was the bad rogue one. It was Peter Skarsgård, who I don't know his name.
Yeah, don't know
Something
his
with a T.
right.
Not Tony, but you know,
Close
in
enough.
that vein."
Yeah,
And she thanks him, and then he's like, "What about June?" And Viola's like, "Nah, June, she knows she can't be with you. Like, you're a sociopath, but also the
like-
lifestyle.
she's like, yeah, she sort of kind of took stock of everything that's happened, and she's good.
She's out."
She's out.
But then in the most brilliant, best callback ever, June, in a sexy nurse's outfit,
Yeah,
drugs him.
she drugs
and
him
breaks him out of the
because
hospital.
She drugs him because it becomes clear to the audience that Tom Cruise is not safe and Viola Davis is going to kill him because she says, and guys, this is a takeaway. If the CIA ever says to you, you're safe now, that means
Run.
run.
You are not safe.
So Viola Davis says, don't worry, you're safe now. And whoop, 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 whoop. Alarm bells go off
Alarm
in me.
bells.
Thank God Cameron Diaz is dressed as, unfortunately, not a sexy nurse, just a nurse.
Just a nurse. Just to blend in the hospital.
Just to blend in.
But
And
like, she's Cameron Diaz, so she like looks great as this
she
nurse.
looks great. She looks great. You're right. She drugs him, and that's fun because
So fun. And we go to what, our 5th location
at
in
least
3 days? Minimum, our 5th location in 3 days.
I mean, the jet lag.
I know. I can't believe she went to that wedding. I was like, wow, I'd be so tired.
I would have been snoozing.
My sister would be like, you okay? I'm tired. Sleeping in the pot roast.
They wake up in South America to go to the Horn.
To go to their someday place.
Oh, yeah. He says, what day is it?
And she goes, it's someday.
It's someday. I was like, these
Chills.
two kooks are...
They deserve each other.
They deserve each other.
We get the most brilliant callback of cinema history where he wakes up in a car somewhere in South America.
Right.
And he glances down and he's like, what am I wearing? And she's like,
yeah.
you're wearing shorts. And she's like, Tom Cruise, I'm trained to replace a carburetor with just a wrench and, I don't know, a drill. I'm making this up. Rubber band. I think that popsicle sticks, super glue, hot glue gun, knitting needles. But I
Easy
think...
bake oven.
Yeah, right. Easy bake oven.
Yeah.
But I think I can get you in a pair of shorts without looking. I'm not saying that's what I did. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I love that callback.
The best antidote to a lack of consent is just to do it back to the person. That's what the movie is saying.
Flip it.
Flip it.
Eye for an eye. Hammurabi's code.
Yeah.
So we lull, we laugh.
We
so
laugh.
Funny.
And they're ready for their sexy romantic journey.
And they're going to drive down to the Horn. And they drive off into the sunset.
Right.
And there's like a beautiful soundtrack and just like a gorgeous location again.
Yeah.
And it is like everything we need. That's
everything we need. But you're missing the buzzkill. The buzzkill is that then they cut to his parents' house and they find out that the parents have been sent tickets to meet them at the Horn of whatever. I was like, oh, now
You're
that's
going to go on a honeymoon and invite your parents.
You're going to invite the parents to meet the parents of their child who they think is dead, but now he's alive.
That's not going to be as happy as we think. It's going to be emotionally
traumatizing. That vacation is
traumatizing.
not going to go the way that she thinks it's going to go. I was like, only a kook would do this, would invite his parents.
I know. I forgot about that
because he's going to be when he finds out. He's going to be so mad.
Do you think she did it or he did? She did it.
She did it.
Yeah, she did it. Yeah, he's going to be mad because he's worked his whole life to keep them in the dark about this,
so
presumably for their safety.
For their safety, and just like, that's so emotionally manipulative. Or not, manipulative isn't the wrong word. It's just like emotional terrorism to be like, to make these people come to South America.
I invited your mom and dad.
Oh my God.
They're like, oh, we won tickets. I didn't submit for these. Well, like, you must have won them. I know.
Go.
I forgot about that because it plays over credits, and I had to laugh at that. I just wrote, love that we jam the parents into the ending title sequence. Just jam them in there.
Right.
And we pull out, and their mailbox says Knight, which that was the first time I realized his last name was Knight. You said you realized it when they were like talking about him at their house.
Maybe I inserted it earlier than it should have been. But I thought that they said it earlier.
His name's
but
like Matthew
something.
In that moment.
But you're right. Maybe this is the first time that we see that his name is Knight.
If it's the last frame of the movie,
now
it's funnier.
Because it makes even less sense and it's even less relevant.
Exactly. I gave up long ago that we would get meaning out of that title.
I'm going to say this. I'm really impressed that we were able to navigate through this movie.
I know, I'm really impressed with us. We did a great job.
Overall, if you haven't watched this movie, stop what you're doing and
Go
please watch it.
watch it.
With the car
Please.
lover in your family. Bring
Preferably a
them.
Pontiac lover.
It's for the Pontiac lover in your household.
Yeah, I couldn't stop singing that GTO song after this. Little GTO. Yeah, this, you haven't heard the song.
I don't know that song.
Clearly. This movie has everything. Locations, locations, jokes, movie stars. Like you
Action.
need nothing else.
You're right. It's everything.
I wrote that yeah, want to do final thoughts so I can just
I think we need to because we've done a really thorough job of trying to unpack
really breaking it
I
down.
think we need to rest on our laurels.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
just said that like I've already said this, but I'm going to go deeper.
Oh,
This is all I need is this. I just need stars, 2 to 3 lines in the beginning that will become a repeated theme. So like repeated lines. I guess we would consider it maybe like a list of sorts that like comes up in Act 1, and by Act 3 they will all be called back, and it doesn't have to be a lot, like 2 to 3 things. And then all I need is a ride into a sunset with some amazing locations as like the song fades out. That's it. Like I don't need anything else but that. And
Yeah.
that is this movie.
yeah. I think
And it's
go ahead.
perfect.
Yeah, I was going to say my last thought is that this movie, I can see why people would hate this movie. But I think that
I can't.
for people who, and I get it. Listen, I get it. But this movie was built for, designed for, written for, produced for people who love movie stars and movie stars who love being movie stars. And I think it's just such a funny like celebration of like what a movie star movie can do that other movies can't. And going off of what you said, like it has everything because only a movie star could pull all of this off, and you forgive everything else. And I
can't
agree.
stop
like
nodding.
This movie, and I texted you this, I feel like this movie was made for me. It's almost like I didn't even have to ask for it. And somebody plugged this algorithm into a computer, and then they printed this out. And maybe the pages got disorganized, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, I just love when you started this, you texted me, now this is a movie.
This is a movie. This is a movie.
This is a movie, and that is exactly how I feel about it. And if you find yourself saying that, it's a success.
You're
it's
one
a
of us.
successful movie.
You're one of us.
us. Oh, I like that. You're one of us. Yeah. Oh, this is a movie. I liked it then. I like it now. I like it more now.
I love it now.
We're not spoiler alert, we're never going to cover a movie that we probably don't like. Like I think we're going to pretty much love all of them, but this is just one of the most prime examples I can think of like what we're doing here on this earth, and also with this podcast.
I think that some of the movies that we've looked at before have tried to cater to people who love the stars, but also the lay audience. I feel like with this movie, it really just ignores the lay audience and really just is catering to fellow stargazers like us.
That's great for a fandom, stargazers. We can't really own it. We can't really trademark it, but
no. Thanks a lot, NASA.
Assholes. Fellow stargazers like us will really appreciate this movie.
Thank you for joining us on this
wild
ride across the world, no less.
Quite literally across the world. We were drugged. We were disoriented. We got hoods put over our heads.
We laughed.
We cried. We glanced at Gal Gadot. We took a motorcycle ride through Spain, got hit by a bull together,
Ow.
crash landed no less than probably 2 times.
Yeah.
Took a trip to the beach.
We took out a
Twice.
stewardess and a pilot. Yeah, we did everything.
And Rodney
And
got his
more.
comeuppance.
Yep.
They're like, who's Rodney?
Yeah. Go
People
back
who've listened to this pod but haven't
go
watched
back
the
to
movie.
hour one.
Quite literally. Who's Rodney?
Who is Rodney? Great question.
Good question. You're going to want to review your notes.
Yeah. Go back to the primary source.
Go back to the primary source because you will be tested.
Yeah. It's like school. If you ask 3 other people before you ask the teacher. So
Yeah.
ask your immediate family members if you have questions about Rodney, and then come to us.
Yeah, because we actually do operate under the belief that there are such thing as stupid questions.
Yeah.
So please.
That's a really dumb one.
Yeah, and it's a you problem. You need to take care of that. It's not our problem.
It's not our problem. We don't have time. We don't have time to answer that.
We don't. We've been here for 2 hours.
2 hours. Longer than the movie.
Literally longer than the movie.
Longer than the movie.
We're at an hour 56:20. Ready to wrap it up. I mean, we did go on a tangent with people to people.
If you're
maybe
hearing
look
this
out for a
now-
bonus.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're hearing the mention of people to people now, but then you said you haven't mentioned it at all in the episode, then maybe there'll be a bonus episode where we talk about our experiences. Maybe we'll cut it.
Yeah.
We might cut it and save it for something
We'll
else.
cut the people to people student ambassador program mention.
Yeah.
Another thing for you to Google if you're unfamiliar, and it'll be a bonus or something. So yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Steven, do you feel good? I think we did it.
Oh, we did it.
Oh, we did the damn thing.
We did it. I'm proud.
I'm so proud of us.
I'm so proud of Cameron.
I know she kills it in this movie.
My
As
retired
always,
queen. Oh.
I know. Is she kind of retired now?
She is retired. She retired from acting.
Oh, I would love to see that face back on my screen.
Me too.
Maybe she'll do like a Jane Fonda thing, like a monster-in-law.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
She'll be back. We can't keep her away forever. She's just too magnetic.
She's too magnetic.
Yeah, get her and Tom Cruise together again. I'm dying to do that. Maybe we'll do Vanilla Sky. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
We could do
We
Vanilla
don't plan.
Sky. We don't plan.
We don't plan it, but we might do it.
We might do it. Listen, we said we weren't even going to touch the boys. Oh, well, I mean, we said we were never going to. We were never going to do a male movie star, and look at us now.
Look at us now.
You can't say that we're not open-minded. You can't.
That is one thing that they definitely can't say.
You can't.
Especially because we've fact checked and I've been wrong before. It's just
Yeah.
I think this is a great podcast. I think we're really good at this.
Yeah, it's oof.
This is good.
You're welcome.
All right. We've been dancing around our goodbyes. I'd like to say, we always say thank you to our stars. Thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Viola Davis and Gal Gadot, even though you weren't the stars of this movie.
Thank God.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everyone.